Gone Girl was a good movie.
Gone Girl was I every time she did something more underhanded and awful, I was like, I am so proud of this girl. I am so proud of her.
I'm a huge Ben Affleck fan. Like, I love Ben Affleck and his movies.
Hit,
He's got some stinkers out there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but he's not perfect like some certain other actors that I'm fond of.
do you like certain genres he did? Like, is it more like when he was like working with Kevin Smith, or like when he did his more serious stuff?
Well, Kevin Smith is definitely my foray into Ben,
Mm-hmm.
and then Armageddon, which is like the
Right.
best worst movie ever. Ever watched the and this is something that a lot of nerds know. Do you ever listen to the what's it called? When you watch a movie and like the actors and they do the voiceover while the movie's playing. I can't. Why can't I think of anything when I'm recording on podcasts? What is it called? Not a documentary. No, and you watch the movie and like instead of just listening to the commentary. So there's a
Oh, okay.
commentary on the Armageddon DVD Blu-ray. Have you ever listened to it?
Mm-mm.
It's it's genuinely Ben Affleck and a bunch of the actors, which you usually don't get on the commentaries. Usually you get some like background guy, maybe one of the directors or second
Or
directors.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he was like talking about how his experience on Armageddon was, and this is one of the reasons why I think I like Ben Affleck so much, is because he's such like a surly dude. And he was like talking to Michael Bay, and he was like, "So like, the plot of the movie, is it weird that we would train, deep sea drillers to be astronauts as opposed to astronauts how to drill?"
How to drill.
And he said Michael Bay like turned to him and was like, "Shut the fuck up and go act." Like,
I do kind of I can connect with Ben Affleck in the sense that like whenever you see him in public, it's either like cigarette in mouth, just looking miserable. You're just like, dude, is being Ben Affleck that bad? Is
he
it
gets a
that
lot of
bad?
shit, man. Ben gets a lot of shit. I don't know why.
Dude, he was married to Jennifer Garner. After
And
that,
Jennifer Lopez.
after that, you can retire. You could just.
And I think he's remarried to Jennifer Garner now, right? Are they back together?
No, I think she still has a boyfriend that I don't even know how how her boyfriend functions day to day. He just like gets up, he's like, "Yeah, I get it, but there's other stuff that goes on." Just like shakes his head. 'Cause-
One of my other favorite Ben Affleck stories is that he was on a late night TV show. I don't remember who it was. If it was not Jay Leno, this is like
like Letterman or whatever.
yeah, but this is post Letterman. It's like now, like these guys that are on
Colbert,
now.
or-
Yeah, he might have been Colbert or whatever. And he was talking about how he got cast as Batman, and he was like, he gotten a lot of flack for Daredevil, right? Like, I can argue that I liked Ben Affleck's in Daredevil. Daredevil was a rough movie, but
Right.
I thought he did a good job, and he was terrified, about the fans' reaction to him being cast as Batman because he was insecure about it. So he said he avoided social media for like months and months and months, and then like I don't remember exactly how the story went, but eventually he was like he kind of gaslit himself to being like, "Yo, I'm fucking like I'm Ben Affleck. Like I'm a great actor. I'm a good director. I'm a good writer. Like what am I scared of? Like this is bullshit. I'm going online. I want to see what people think." And he's like, I went to the first post, checked the first comment, and it was no, like the response, and he said it just like crushed him. So Ben gets a lot of shit, but ironically enough, this side conversation is kind of about we're talking about today movie adaptations and TV adaptations of novels and comics and video games and why that is. So if we didn't introduce ourselves on our
I was gonna
initial
say, yeah, we didn't do that.
maiden voyage of this podcast,
True.
Nerdy Talk. So my name is Vinny Rita. Hi, how are you?
I am Ryan Case. Hi, how are you?
This is your camera.
Ah.
This is your camera.
I'm Vinny Rita.
I am Ryan Case. I did not, and it's one of these things that like I had this thought in my head, but I didn't say it because I forgot it. The guy who played Ogre in Revenge of the Nerds,
Yeah.
he died the day 2 weeks ago, Wednesday, when we did our first.
Oh,
podcast.
really?
Yep. So the in your head, you could feel him just coming in here and just going, Nerds.
So the fact that we put out a podcast on the day he died,
I would like to think it's in memoriam to him.
in memoriam to Ogre and his bullying of nerds, and he becomes a nerd.
He does. Daniel Tosh apparently, like a couple years ago, was going to pay him to go to Comic-Con and just walk in and start yelling nerds like he did in Revenge of the Nerds.
That would be great. That would be great. Those movies,
That would have been
in
great.
retrospect, are problematic, but I loved them when they came out.
Why were they problematic?
Have you rewatched them recently with a adult lens?
Well, I remember that. Who's the main guy? Like, Lewis?
I
Lewis.
love it, but
Right. I mean, well, because it's '80s movies. Like, there's the '80s movies can do no wrong, but
all the wrong at the same time.
but Lewis was in the what is it, the fun house or whatever, like basically having sex with this chick, and this chick thought he was somebody else, and he had a Kylo Ren mask. You're like, is that a
there's
Kylo Ren mask?
tons of like sex crimes that happen in Revenge of the Nerd that we just accept because it's like, oh, it's like, you know,
Dude, it was
cute,
the
nerdy
80s.
fun.
It was
The 80s.
okay.
Like Back to the Future, that movie is all kinds of messed up when you watch it. It's so beloved.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really look at that movie, there's so many problems. Like, number one, why is Doc Brown and Marty even friends? Like, it makes no sense. They're like best buds.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a high schooler, and he goes over there just to play his guitar? Like, what? How did the friendship of Marty and Doc Brown start in the headcanon of Ryan Case?
Well, I mean, I think back then, like every town has like the kind of the old codger that's like always like in his tinkering with something or building something, and like the little kids wander over like, what are you doing, mister? And he's like, I'm just fixing this refrigerator. People throw these out these days, and I just put more Freon in and keep freezing shit. Like, and they have that, and that used to be okay. Now automatically, if you hear about, oh, a couple kids go to that old guy's house, oh, is he banging them? Like, why is he going to that old guy's house? Like we automatically
That's
jump
trouble.
to this like,
There's a lot of trouble there. Something's not right.
yeah, but I mean, they could have had been friends like that. Dude, if you were, okay, so if you were in the same situation in the 80s and like this old guy was just like fixing shit at his house, but you always noticed he had this big tarp like in his back thing, and you're like, what is that? And he's like, that's a time machine. There'd be nothing keeping you from that house. Like every day you'd be like trying to peek under shit, and he'd be like, coming out of his house like with a stick or whatever old people have, and like chasing you with it. Like you would do that.
And then the moral of the story is at the end there, like Marty comes back and his family's rich and he has a nice truck and like everybody's, better looking and better dressed.
Except
And it's like, the key to happiness is like materialism and
yes,
and money.
And Biff, who's like washing your car, like now, like, or was that in part 2?
No, I think Biff was watching the car on the end of the first one, yeah.
Which shows like, look, if you're a bully, you're gonna be cool in high school, but after that, car
Yeah,
washer.
don't even get me into the sequels because like that breaks all the rules that the first movie sets as far as like the space-time continuum and all the things. It's just a mess.
True, so that movie had bad part. Howard the Duck always stood out to me as having questionable
Howard the Duck
stuff in it.
definitely informed us as young people in a way that we probably shouldn't have been informed. And a film adaptation of a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Though I didn't read the Howard the Duck comic books as a
I
kid.
did not either.
Howard the Duck movie was my first exposure to Howard the Duck.
Yes. So, but
And who was the actress in there?
same one.
Right.
Leah Thompson.
Yes.
Dude, I think it was even worse because if you're watching Howard the Duck, you're a dork. So if you're a dork in the 80s, like your life already sucks. And then you're seeing Leah Thompson, who's just like, for the 80s, she's bananas hot. And you're looking at this and you're like, the duck guy. She's banging the duck guy.
Yeah.
I can't get a girlfriend and Leah Thompson's banging ducks. Like, this is like,
Yeah, what was
doesn't
with
help.
the anthropomorphic and like because the Ninja Turtles were always trying to get in April O'Neil's pants. Like
But April never succumbed to that.
she didn't.
Nope. But Leah
Thompson.
Thompson first time.
Yeah, she banged Howard.
And she called him Ducky. She kept calling him Ducky.
It's very uncomfortable.
So off-putting. Just it.
I haven't watched Howard the Duck in a long time.
I think I watched it because I made my son Killian watch it. I'm like, here's something you need to watch. And he couldn't make height. He's like, So it's a duck, but he's from outer space, and he just lives his duck life, and he wants to go back, and now he's cool, and in the end, he like plays his guitar, like everybody like loves him because he's a duck, and he bangs it. Like, yeah, it was wrong of me to make.
Well,
him
Howard the
watch
Duck
that.
made an appearance in the Marvel movies, the most recent Marvel movies. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Really?
Yeah, he makes a cameo appearance in a couple of them.
Stop it! Where is he now? This is news to me.
Yeah, he's in like one of the post-credit scenes. But Howard the Duck exists in
In that
Robert Downey
that
Jr. world.
universe.
There's a possibility that at some point Robert Downey Jr. and Howard Duck will be in the same scene.
Wow.
I mean, it may never
That-
happen, but there is a possibility. The framework exists for it.
Well, I have to do more research on it. It's like, was Howard the Duck a mutant, or was he just like?
No, he's just like
Duck.
he's a duck from another planet, like an anthropomorphic duck, right? Isn't there a planet of
Ducks?
other ducks?
Yeah, because when he was in his duck apartment, he was reading a copy of Play Duck,
Right,
which leads you to believe he was looking at naked ducks.
right.
Had to be published
From
by
his-
ducks, and
Yeah,
now it makes sense.
a lot of things make
For
sense.
that. Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts? A lot of people get upset with movie adaptations and stuff like that. People get very triggered by certain things not being like the book. Like, what's your one? I think one of the more infamous ones is when Zack Snyder did The Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
People were like very triggered over his version of it.
I get yeah. I mean, The Watchmen was like one of the first graphic novels I was into, like because I didn't understand when I started reading graphic novels when I was that little. I didn't know what graphic novels were.
Right.
So graphic novels usually are a storyline that's like 20 comics long.
Correct.
So I would just
or a
read
complete story.
Yeah, and I would just read graphic novels, and then like I wouldn't understand what's going on in the comic.
Right.
Because like you're just reading like certain chunks, and there's big chunks in between that are left out.
Right.
So I didn't understand like anything. But I thought yes, The Watchmen like it missed a couple things, but I thought like overall as a movie, even people that weren't into comic books could watch The Watchmen and be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." Like the same how you could watch like The Boys and be like, "Wow, this is fantastic." And you don't need like the book version. So you don't need the book version, but you can still watch the movie and think and not even be a fan of that.
Yeah, what I find weird is that people get so upset about it. I guess because they want a faithful adaptation, I guess, right?
Mhm.
But also like their behavior as if like the existence of that movie or TV series negates that the books exist anymore. It's like you could still like they didn't use the books to fuel the cameras
Mhm.
to film the movie. Like you could still revisit the books and read them.
Right.
It doesn't take away from the book. I guess that they're looking forward. And what's ironic about that is like for the majority of The Watchmen, it is almost like a shot for shot remake of the comic. Like
Right.
he used that as a storyboard and like there's panels and you could actually see the visual representation of it. Like a vast majority of it, if not all of it, is like that.
And even like when they picked who was going to like play who, like I mean Jackie Earl Haley as like Rorschach, that was like spot on. Carla Gugino as Silk Spectre, and then like later Silk Spectre was like, how do you say her name? Mila Ackerman.
Yeah, I always
Ackerman?
Malia Ackerman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The only character I
Malia?
could never gel with, dude, is Night Owl. Like I tried.
but he was great as Night Owl, the actor that played him. That
Yeah.
went on to be in all the horror movies.
Insidious.
Insidious, yeah.
But I get that, that's fine. But like it was too being a Batman fan. It was too close to Batman, and it was literally they could have called him Owlman, and it would have been worse. It would just be like, oh Christ, it's Owlman.
So to me, what's funny about that is Watchmen as a graphic novel was a commentary on comic books, right? Like it was a lot about, first and foremost, those characters were based off of the Charlton Comics characters that DC owned.
Right.
So DC bought all those Charlton comic characters. Alan Moore was writing that. Then DC didn't want him to use the Blue Beetle. You know what I'm saying?
Got
so
it.
he made, so they made Night Owl. Like those characters are analogs for other analogs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so. Dr. Manhattan was supposed to be the Atom.
Right.
So it's like a copy of a copy kind of thing.
Right.
So he created his own characters, his own continuity that reflected like the Charlton Comics characters, which were some of them were basically like I said, just analogs of other superheroes like or DC, you know. And I
Right.
can't remember who came out first or whatever. So I'm sure somebody is going to correct me, like, oh no, actually, you know,
I love
you
that
know,
you did that.
it's going to
voice.
happen. It's going to happen.
That's how they all
But
talk.
we're definitely going to be, you know, but actually
Mm-hmm.
quite a few times. So that being said, comic books were going through a change, and like Alan Moore was ironically a part of that change too. Like the stories he was telling were deeper and darker and more intense. I think we talked about Alan Moore in the last podcast with Superman, and so this was kind of like his commentary on what was going on in the comic books. I felt Zack Snyder was trying to do that with comic book films
Mm-hmm.
through The Watchmen.
Right.
So like his version of The Watchmen was a commentary on what comic book films were doing at the time. So I felt like the Night Owl in that movie definitely felt a lot more like the cinematic Batman type
Okay,
characters, where like the comic book version of Night Owl was more based on that Denny O'Neil, you know, superpowers version of Batman, which
Right.
was fresh off of Adam West.
Right.
You know, he was kind of dumpy and like everyday manish. You know, because in the comic book, Night Owl's like retired and he's like overweight and he's like not really, you know,
Right.
loving life. You know, because Rorschach was, you know, the Phantom and stuff like that. You know, so like, I'm sure I got that wrong. Somebody's gonna definitely come after me. It's gonna be bad. So like,
The mob's
and that's why they
coming for you.
changed the whole thing with the ending. Like people were upset that they took the giant alien squid out.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the comic book, it's the alien squid,
Right.
you know, but I guess they felt like they wouldn't reflect what was happening in the contemporary evolution of
Right.
superhero movies per se, you know.
Yeah. I mean, people kind of people get married to that lore, and then they can't come out of it. And I can say nothing about that because I'm so guilty of it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very few and far between where you see like if something gets remade or rebooted or reimagined, like whatever they're doing, whatever, you know, director gets a boner for whatever, and he's like, I'm gonna go do this, like case in point, when they remade Nightmare on Elm Street. Now they remade it, and Jackie Earl Haley actually played Freddy. So you're like, okay, you go into it going, I know exactly what's going to happen in this movie. I know exactly, but part of that change when like the parents like they get around, you know, like Freddy's little like hut or whatever, and they set it on fire.
Right.
Now, okay, this happened in the original lore, like, you know, they burned him alive and all this stuff, and that's how he became who he is. But there was a part where Jackie Earl Haley's against the door and he's screaming, I don't know why you think I did this. I don't know what you think I did. And just him saying those two lines almost remade the whole thing, because now it became like, okay, child predator, kill and burn the child predator. And then, because this made it like, was it going to be a different thing? Because now it was actually questionable. Did he do it?
Right.
Because now if he was like this guy who just got pinned on this because he was a weirdo, didn't do it, now it even makes more sense that he's coming back to like kill all these kids.
Right.
So like, yeah, people just get married to lore, and then that you cannot take them out of that no matter what. It's almost like you're threatening like what's set up in their head.
Yeah, it's funny that happens. And like, aside from adaptations going back into like reboots and remakes, I think we see that a lot in media, right? Like we get fresh takes of things, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And what dictates whether they're good or not, I don't know if there's a reasoning or an analyst that can go through each individual one. But just to like go over what you said with what's going on in comic books right now is DC is taking the world by storm with what's called the Absolute Universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not that we haven't had alternate versions of these characters in the past, right?
Right.
There's thousands of alternate versions of Batman. There's, you know what I mean? Like we've done it. They've done like DC's famous for like their Elseworlds line, where they love to like take a character and throw it in a different environment. There's Vampire Batman. There's Green Lantern Batman, right?
Right.
There's Superman Batman. Like there's all different types of things. So when they announced it, I was kind of like, I meh. I was like, meh, like this doesn't really sound like it just sounds like more of the same. It doesn't excite me enough to get into it, right? And Marvel had something back in the early 2000s called the Ultimate Universe,
Right.
which they did that for a purpose. They were trying to make comic books accessible to the people who were just starting to watch the X-Men movies and Iron Man and getting into the MCU. Like, actually, ironically enough, the MCU mimicked a lot of things in the Ultimate Universe. So it was like, it was informing itself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they made the comic books for the movie crowds that were happening, like the Spider-Man and the X-Men movies and the Blades and all that stuff. And then those comic books wound up informing the adaptations of future movies.
Right.
Because they were drawing them cinematically. They were using real actors' likenesses and stuff for them. Like Nick Fury was played by Sam Jackson. The artist and Brian Hitch in the original Ultimates designed Nick Fury after Sam Jackson. So they cast Sam Jackson based on the fact that someone used Sam Jackson's likeness for the character.
Makes sense.
Somehow. So when I heard about the Absolute Universe and I was just starting to read comic books again, my buddy who owns the shop I go to was like, you have to read this. It's really good. And I was like, like, I just can't, right?
Right.
Finally, like 6 or 7 months into the book, he's like, it's just picking up steam. Like, people are really, really getting into it. And I was like, you know what? I'll take give me the first 6 issues, And by the end of issue 2, I called him up and I was like, put this on my pull list and also grab me all the other Absolute titles. Because at the time there was Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Martian Manhunter, and Absolute Flash and Green Lantern were like just coming out. So I was like, I want all of them. I want to read them all. Because what they had done, what I feel they're doing in that Absolute Universe was similar to what you said about they were taking some small bits of the established lore and changing it enough so that the environment or the motivations are different for the character. So what they did for Batman specifically was, instead of his father, Jonathan Wayne,
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas Wayne. Sorry.
John Wayne. I get it.
Thomas Wayne.
Right.
Instead of Thomas Wayne being a rich philanthropist, doctor, surgeon, he was just a high school teacher or a middle school teacher, probably, or maybe even elementary school teacher.
Right.
Him and Martha got married. He was like going to med school, but they got pregnant, and he like became a teacher. I can't remember the exact thing, but he was just an average. They were an average family.
Right.
They're living an average life. And Thomas is murdered. Martha isn't murdered. And this book takes place in a more contemporary environment, and like Thomas gets killed in like a mass shooting at a public place, which is something that like unfortunately we deal with a lot more often right now.
True.
Or it seems like we do. I'm not going to get into the media. So
Right.
anyway, that happens, and Bruce, is an athlete. He goes to school. He educates himself. He becomes an engineer, and so it's almost as if Batman and then the Joker is the rich philanthropist. So he's now the multi-billionaire that has all the resources in the world. And there's a whole reason why this exists in the Absolute Universe, and I don't want to go into that. I could talk to you for days about it. But I like that what they were doing what I felt to me what they're doing is the DC universe and the Marvel universe had two like distinct characteristics, right? All the DC characters are like mythological, godlike beings.
Right.
They feel like they're in a pantheon. Even though they do have some tragic parts of their stories, the environment and the general nature is that they are these larger than life characters that almost people can't relate to. Where the Marvel characters are very grounded.
Right.
Like you have Spider-Man who's like bullied as a kid in school and then becomes a young adult who can never get his shit together. You have Hulk. Like you have all these characters that have real like relatable. You have the X-Men who deal with like diversity and racism and prejudice and stuff like that, right? So like you have all these like grounded type characters. It feels to me what they did was like, what if the DC characters existed in the
We're,
Marvel universe.
we're relatable. Right.
Yeah, or more relatable, because the core tone of the stories is that if something bad can happen, it will. And that's because that's what happens a lot in the Marvel universe. Like, even though these characters are heroic and stuff like that, at some point there's always like a tragic ending to even their triumphs, right? Like,
Right.
something always happens. Like, something goes wrong. Like, Peter still can't ever pay his rent. Like, there's daily stuff that they can't deal with.
Right.
So it feels like they did that with the DC characters, and it's like they're so much more appealing.
I would think so. I mean, like, it's hard if you were getting into comic books like back in the 80s or 90s. It was so simple. Like, you would walk in and you'd be like, "Oh, it's Spider-Man." Like, "Oh, there's like 3 Spider-Man titles: Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man." Like, that's it. There wasn't like 9,000 different universes. It was just like,
Right.
yeah, and basically all the stuff, he was fighting the same people and the same ones. Like,
Right.
there was no craziness, and you could just start there. Now, like, if you're just getting into comic books and you walk into a comic book store, it's like, you're like, Jesus Christ! Like, there's like 50
No,
different.
you need a roadmap.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
like, and it's even harder when you're like, okay, so I want to start with like Superman. I like Superman. And you walk over and you're like, okay, so this is, whatever Superman. Okay. And it's on number like 6. And you're like, 6? This has been going on since the 40s. Like, how is this motherfucker on the number
Yeah.
6? And then it's, well, then you have to learn the backstories, and like it's so
Yeah.
hard now. Like,
It is hard. Which, one of the reasons why the appeal of the, like, a structured rebooted universe is to bring in new readers, right?
right.
So, like, if you wanted to read Superman, came to me and was like, I'm really, like, I love Superman, but I don't know where to start. There's a few graphic novels I can recommend, but you would read those. But once they're done, they're done. You want something serialized, like you want a TV show that's coming on
Right.
once a week. So you want to go every month to go pick up a Superman comic book, and you want to follow that story. I would tell you go pick up Absolute Superman. I would say
Okay.
you want to read Absolute Superman. So go back, buy the 15 issues that have already come out,
Mhm.
or you can buy the collected versions of it, and then from that point, from whenever that last collected version starts, get the the issues. That's what I would say. If that was something that interested you. And that's why I think these things exist as a business. But that what was happening was that was the part that they were more concerned with, I think, is that they were just trying to get the readers in, but they weren't putting the quality behind it. Like, let me just
Got
get them
it.
in with a new issue number 1, but they never had a plan after that. Like, where I feel like DC's finally figured
Right.
out, like, oh, I can see people want consistency. People want something that's streamlined. They want to be able to read one thing, and they don't want to be forced to buy other books, right?
Right.
I don't want to have to go into, like, if I want to read a crossover event, I want to read that event in its completion,
entirety, right.
in its entirety, and not have to be like, oh, I got to go pick up, X-Men 23
Oh,
and Daredevil
yeah.
17 in order to understand the story.
Right.
Now, there could be side stories that those readers are enjoying if they really want to,
Mhm.
but the main plot is going to be in its entirety in this one book, right?
Right, because I mean, Marvel was like famous for that. Like, back in the day, like what they had, like Acts of Vengeance. They had Asgardian Wars. They had Inferno. Like, all these things
Right.
where it was like all these crossover.
And they were trying to
things.
tie you in because oh, you love X-Men, but I want to get you to read New Mutants,
Right.
or Power Pack,
Mhm.
and you're like, I don't
Power
want to fucking buy Power Pack. Stop making me buy Power Pack.
Or Excalibur.
Yeah.
Dude, Excalibur was bad. Like, yeah. But I mean, as far as being married to lore, there's very few things that I'm like religiously in love with, and when those get tampered with,
There's certain fundamentals that, like, it's hard to tamper with, right? I agree with that.
like okay, case in point, Halloween. Like, you watch and you're like, okay, like, just like any franchise like that, it burned itself out. But when you heard like Rob Zombie was going to do Halloween, you're like, okay. He even called like John Carpenter. He's like, hey, I want to reboot, Halloween. And John Carpenter went, okay. Like, he wasn't like, ooh, let's do this. He was like, great. And then he just like did what he did with it. And he gave like Michael Myers this backstory, and he was a sad kid, and he was, he had chubby and long hair, and his mom was a stripper, and his stepdad wasn't nice, and you're like, you are killing everything I love. Why are you doing?
Right.
It's literal torture to watch this, and because the whole lore, the originality of it was, there's no motive, there's no nothing. This
Right.
guy just like indiscriminately kills people, and he's just, that's what it was. And to give it all this stuff's like, great. I'm really happy to know that he was a troubled child. And like, just when lore gets screwed with sometimes,
Yeah.
like, it's
Well, the
it's
business
literally
takes
screwing with
over,
your
right?
reality.
There's business takes over because sometimes there's nothing really more interesting to say about it, right? And just to make a sequel, like sometimes is a thing, right? Because like, and that happens a lot with branding and franchises, right? So like Michael Myers is a franchise, Jason's a franchise, Freddy's a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Now the latest and greatest is it, right? Pennywise. Pennywise is huge
yeah.
now. And that being said, that Welcome to Derry show was the best Pennywise thing I watched.
Right.
And I watched the original It. I watched It Chapter 1, Chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch Welcome to Derry?
I have not watched Welcome to for that reason because, and not, I so the couple people that I've heard like talk about it have nothing but rave reviews about it.
Right.
But I'm coming off of the Strangers trilogy, and it's literally like PTSD for me. Like I can't watch something else I like just be just like hacked to shit. Like I have The Strangers was one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Like favorite horror movies of all time.
Yeah, we talked about this. Not on a podcast. I think we just talked about this.
Yeah, and like to watch that, and like then Strangers Pray at Night came out, and you're like, okay, are we going to see 12 sequels? This is going to get bad. And they ended it after that. They're like, no. But when Strangers Pray at Night came out, you knew what you were getting. Like you knew it was going to be Man in the Mask, it was going to be Dollface, it was going to be Pinup Girl, and there was certain things they did. That is Tamara home, like the axe murder thing. Like you knew, so they were kind of rock starring it. Like
Right.
okay, you know what's coming, and that movie was amazing. Like Pray at Night gets shit, but it was really good. But then the reboot came out, and this guy wanted to go in his new direction, and it was universally panned. It wasn't me just like wetting my pants about this movie. Like everybody was just like, why are you doing this? And even like the stuff, like the tiny things that you expected, like the knock on the door. It wasn't is Tamara home. It's is Tamara here? Like so, it was a little different.
Right.
And the whole movie was based on that this was just indiscriminate, and the last like one of the main line of the movie is why are you doing this? Because you were home. That's it. Like that. The whole movie hangs on that one line. In the reboot, you're like waiting for it. You're like, just salvage this and just let me hear the line. And she goes, because you were here. And in the movie theater, if I could have bit through a finger, like I would just be here, like with a claw. Like you just hear that, and you're like, it just died. The whole thing died. And then there was 2 more coming, and the 2 more were just as bad. So people just get like, it's almost like you're messing with somebody's reality. If you're like, no, this is what's real. You can't tell me the sky's purple. You can't. I've known it to be blue. And yeah, so I totally get it. Even, when at comic books, it's got to be just as hardcore because you have people that like, like you said, like the people that are, if we say like one thing that's going to be off, they're going to be online going, excuse me, sir, I'm just saying. Like, there's always going to be those people, the people that, the internet is just mostly just people with pitchforks and torches just looking for a monster.
Well, what I find is funny too is like nobody's ever happy. So like,
true.
Did you see the trailer for Zach Regger's Resident Evil that's coming out?
You sent it to me.
So
yes,
I think it looks great. I like Zach Regger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not I'm someone who's like, I watch scary movies with like hesitation because like I'm just terrified. Like I hate scary movies. I like scary movies and I appreciate them, and I love the artistry of them.
Mm-hmm.
But like I also like don't like being scared. So I watched Weapons, which was a great movie.
Weapons was
right. So I like Zach Regger. I'm in on Zach Regger, and so I was excited to hear. And I always find that like there's this thing that happens, like a director does a couple of good movies and then he immediately gets like a franchise. And I wish they would stop that trend.
Right.
Like I would love to have seen more Zach Regger movies, but maybe they're paying him a boatload of money. Like I want the man to get paid, right? He deserves it. So anyway, he's doing Resident Evil. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people online were frustrated that it didn't have like the Stars team from the Resident Evil movies and all that stuff. But
right.
The funny part about it is maybe like 3-4 years ago, they put out a Resident Evil movie called Raccoon City. Mm-hmm. And it had all the things that they're upset that Zach Regger's movie has. And A, it was awful, and B, nobody watched it.
Right?
right? So it's like, what do you want? Like,
People are never like it. Things with you mentioning the being scared in a movie. There, I'm not scared by over the top stuff that's supposed to be scary. Like to to me, like even in playing the video games, Resident Evil never scared me as a video game.
right.
Like and it was like
That's
the
not,
thing with like 1,000 teeth and 1,000 arms and 1,000 eyes, like that's not scary. But if I played Silent Hill and you're walking through the room and all of a sudden you hear something like
yeah.
slamming a piano, fuck that. I will like disavow that game. I'll just be fucking game. I'll swear
Alan
at it.
Wake was a scary movie.
Like-
Remember Alan Wake?
Alan Wake.
Yeah, you just had a flashlight. The whole game you played like basically with a flashlight. Remember Alan Wake? That movie was scary. The game was scary.
What is
It's Xbox 360 game, Alan Wake. And they may have done a couple sequels, but the original Alan Wake is awesome. The whole game is basically you're in a town and it's eclipsed with darkness and you need a flashlight and these shadows come after you and you have to have the flashlight to like fight them and there's weapons too, like there's combat, but
I have never heard of such a thing.
yeah, you should play it. Do you have an Xbox 360 laying around your house?
I do not, but like there's a place Haven for Heroes that's like down for me. I could probably get it for like $50. It's worth it.
Haven for Heroes for sure. But do you have any game consoles at home?
I have a Nintendo Switch. That's it.
Oh, okay, yeah, go to Haven for Heroes and grab
Okay.
an Xbox and game.
Was it the scariest game you ever played?
Scariest game I ever played. Resident Evil 2 was scary, and not because of the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
They had some really good jump scares in that game.
Mm-hmm.
The anxiety of not dying in Resident Evil was scary because
Right?
that's back in your characters like moved like a tank back then, like you really couldn't do anything. So like trying to walk down a hallway and not get eaten by a giant spider was terrifying. And the ammo was always limited. Like they did a great job of like giving you just enough resources to barely complete
Right.
the mission. So
To scrape by.
that was always fun. Scariest game I ever played. Huh. Never really thought about that.
I went with Fatal Frame.
Fatal Frame was scary.
Fatal Frame was okay. However, this sounds like girl ghosts always scarier than guy ghosts. Asian girl ghosts are the scariest ghosts of all time. So,
Yeah.
proven by The Ring, The Grudge, like whatever else. And there were parts in this game where like you're going through and all you have is your camera and you have to like, and the ghost will be here and it does this dance and then all of a sudden it comes like this. But there's some parts where it's like, oh, I have to investigate this vase. You look
Yeah.
into it. Darn it, it's so dark. Let me take a picture. And something comes out and you scream and you throw your fucking controller and you swear. Like
The
Fatal Frame
Last of
was
Us games were
bonkers.
pretty scary. Did you play the Last of Us games?
Uh-uh.
Those are games, and Last of Us 2 is terrifying. And spoilers, like there's a twist to it.
Uh-huh.
So in Last of Us 2, you play as you know nothing about Last of Us. All right, so there's an HBO TV series you can watch,
Okay.
but play the games. Play Last of Us 1 and play Last of Us 2. Like if you're stop what you're doing and just go play those. They're all PlayStation exclusives.
It's
so.
weird that you just said stop what you're doing because last night, and this is no bullshit, like I had wanted to play Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest for ages, and I'm like, finally yesterday I'm bored here, and I'm like, AIing like, can I play this on the Switch? Oh yeah, just go and order a Castlevania Anniversary Series. You get the first Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Castlevania 3, and like 4 other games for $20. So
Easy.
last night I went all the way through, and all I have left on Castlevania 2 is Dracula's Castle.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's weird that you said that. It's almost like you knew I was playing that game.
Yeah. So go play Last of Us. In the first game, you play as the character Joel. Right. There's a whole story. He has like a young female sidekick. His mission is to bring her to safety. Is essentially what it is. There's a lot of twists and turns, but just to sum it up for you, I don't want to spoil the second game now.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't really spoil this. The second game. So I won't spoil the second game,
Okay.
but there's a twist in the second game.
Mm-hmm.
In the second game, you're playing as the main character and you're beating the bosses like you would. Like, say you're Simon Belmont and you're like defeating everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere like 2/3 in the game, the POV kind of switches
Mm-hmm.
and you play now as the antagonists.
Okay.
And you experience the entire game from their perspective, like everything you've done. And you realize like you as the main character who are killing all these NPCs and bosses, now you're seeing what their daily lives are, and you realize you're a fucking mass murderer, and you're doing this, slaughtering these people this whole game because you see it, like you see it from the boss's perspectives now, and you're like, oh my god, like I did all this, like I knew it's literally like all the actions that you did in the game. It's one of the coolest twists ever in video game history. Like, and they do not market the game like that. Literally, you experience it in real time as the game. But it won't take away from the actual experience. But like when they do that, you realize you're the fucking you're essentially like that's the whole crux of the second game is like who's the bad guy?
Right.
Are you the fucking bad guy? And also, it's like it makes you think. You're like, oh, I just been like plowing through video games like for 30 years. I never really thought like what life was like for Dr. Wily's robots in the Mega Man games as I was like destroying the, you know what I mean? Like you never really think of it like narratively like that, or like all the little like Goombas you step on and squash that can't go home to their Goomba families now. I was like, super,
Damn, dude.
yeah, it's dark. It's dark. You know how many turtles you popped like and threw in lava? Like how many did you just throw in lava and never consider like
Yoshi's.
Why are you're
Yeah.
saying this? You're
Yoshi
saying this
eats
very
them.
accusatory.
Yoshi eats these people and shits them out. And we're just like, that's cute. It's fun.
Wow.
It's dark.
Yeah.
All your life.
Shit, dude.
Like, what about Ganon? What about Ganon's feelings?
But I mean,
Well, he was a projection of pure evil.
so, and what system was that on?
PlayStation 5. Well, I think PlayStation 4. Last of Us and Last of Us 2 were both.
First one, it was 4.
Was 2 on 5? Or there was a remake on 5? I think they both came out on 4. I might be
It
wrong.
was one of those things where it was like they did both.
Go get
Like, it was
get a
like
PlayStation 5.
Okay.
And I think they have Alan Wake on the PlayStation Store. Like I don't think you need to buy an Xbox 360 in order to play Alan Wake. They've since like have released all these things on their, electronic stores. They're down. Yeah.
So
Just Sony, right? Like Sony's the only one that really has exclusives. Because you can play Gears of War on PlayStation now, I think.
Weird
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
but I have to
And
get
Halo.
I have to get a PlayStation 5 anyway because the Halloween game that's coming out in September is only on PlayStation 5. Well, it's on PlayStation 5 and it's on like if you play it on a laptop. And dude, I'm not learning how to do
A lot
that
of
shit.
people said that the Friday the 13th game was pretty good, right? When it came out a few years ago?
It was really good. Like it was good in the sense that the only Friday the 13th experience I had was the first Nintendo one. Like,
Oh, I forgot about that game.
yeah. So they made Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street for Atari.
Oh, shut up. I missed that.
You didn't miss much.
Oh.
Well, Atari.
Yeah.
But yeah, for PlayStation 5, the Halloween's coming out, but the Friday the 13th game, it was good in the sense that like you had online play, you could be different Jasons, you could do all this shit. And when you grab somebody, it was like a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Right.
Like you're grabbing counselors and like taking this chick's head and putting it in a fireplace and kicking the back of her head. You're like, Jesus Christ.
It's
so
dark.
yeah, but then all of a sudden you noticed one day you logged on and you play the first round offline and you're like, okay, so I killed a bunch of counselors. I feel better. And then you're going you're going to the next round and you can only be like one Jason. You're like, what's going on? Everything else is locked and there's no online option. So they took the game offline like a year and a half ago and they're just like, yeah, screw you if you bought this. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
So you can't access any of that. Well, that's not fun. I don't even get into the whole mess with like downloadable content and microtransactions in video games. It's rough.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's all up in arms that like they only released like 6 characters from Invincible Versus, like, and like they're charging like $10 for a skin.
That's gross.
But reboots and remakes is kind of where we went. We meant to talk about adaptations.
We've been doing that the whole time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I like IP. I'm part of the problem. Like, I've watched all the incarnations of Spider-Man. I've watched all the incarnations of Batman.
Mm-hmm. Spider Noir is coming out.
I think so, very soon. Yeah.
That I want to say. I'm a Noir fan, so to like combine that with like Spider-Man, like
Yeah. It's it's an adaptation of Spider Noir, which is like so, but it's not a direct one-on-one because number one, they can't call him Spider-Man. They have to call him Spider Noir. He's not called Spider Noir in the comics.
Right.
Because part of the deal with Sony and Marvel is Marvel has the rights to Spider-Man so Sony can't do a Spider-Man movie
Fair.
or have Spider-Man appear in things
Mhm.
or even say the word Peter Parker. In that god awful Madam Web movie that came out,
Right.
Peter Parker is like in utero in that movie, and they can't even be like, "What's the baby's name?" Like they can't. They have to like dance around it.
Could they do like a Peter Porker version of that?
They did Peter Porker in Spider-Verse, which is some of the best comic adaptations. Which is it's very different from the Miles Morales from the cartoon, but the spirit of Miles is there. Like you were saying before, like with lore, there's certain things that like yes, you can change certain things, like maybe a little bit tweak of the origin or tweak a little bit of like sometimes they do gender swapping or they change races and stuff like that, which people sometimes get upset about or whatever. But if it's done for a good narrative reason, I don't see an issue with it, right? But the spirit of the character is still there. Like it feels like Miles
Right.
from the comics, even though the origin's a little bit different and couldn't never be the same. His origin's so convoluted now with like him being from the Ultimate Universe and now he's in the mainline universe and
Right.
blah 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 blah. So Peter Porker is definitely an option, and he can fight Howard the Duck.
Dude, I never understood Peter Porker. I in my like comic book buying whatever back then, like I would like buy. You just go out and you buy like the Avengers, you'd buy Web of Spider-Man, you buy like whatever came out that like that week, and all of a sudden you're seeing Peter Porker. I'm like,
I used to love the Peter Porker backup stories. They used to be in like what was it, Marvel Fanfare? Where did he pop into all that? Was it Marvel Comics Presents?
I don't even know, dude. I just remember he had like a weird limited series, and
Well, they
it
did
was
all
like
the
a-
Fred Hembeck stuff too. Remember Fred Hembeck kills the Marvel Universe and stuff like that, and it was always like a cartoon version. But like Peter Porker, I remember being like he was a backup story in other books.
What do you mean?
Like it was never like there was never like a Peter Porker comic.
Right.
So like he was like there were
Like-
comic books that had like anthologies of stories.
Like filler?
Like instead of having one 24 to 30 page story, it would be like 3 or 4 10-page stories.
Oh, okay. Got
And
it.
there was always Peter Porker Presents or the Spamtacular Peter Porker or whatever it is.
I don't just what? Why? Why did they need Peter Porker? Like, what? Where did that? Like, who came up with that? Who was just sitting? Like, was it like the guy was drunk at a party one time? He's like, I'm the guy that writes Spider-Man, Peter Porker. Peter Porker, and then then like 2 days later, he's like drawing it on this. This is what Peter Porker.
Everybody
would
likes
look like.
Spider-Ham.
I don't know. Spider-Ham. I can't do it. I try and I can't. Like,
What's your favorite non-comic book version of Batman?
I don't know if I had a non-comic book favorite, but what I liked about Batman was that there was books about Batman, about like being Batman outside of even comic books. Like if you read I think we were talking about it after the first podcast got over, Becoming Batman. This guy wrote this book, and I think he's like a physiologist or he's something like that, and it's a book, and he wrote what it would actually take to become Batman in real life, like how you would have to train, how you would have to sleep, what you would have to eat. And he goes, I mean, it's detailed.
Right.
Like, this is how muscle fibers work, and this is how
Right.
amino acids, but he really goes into like what it would take to become Batman. Like, so there's that book I had read, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Then there was Batman and Psychology. Batman and Psychology was such an amazing book because it goes into like why he does the things he does, and then the last chapter is like who's a better superhero, Batman or Superman, and because that's always the huge debate. And he says it, he's like, Batman wins every time. He wins every time. Every time they fight in a comic book, he wins every time. And part of you is like, well, okay, so maybe that's because like they want to give it a better story. Like, how did he beat this guy? And he explains, he's like, they're in two different fights. Like, Superman knows he could just freeze breath Batman and just punch him once and he'll explode into 1,000 pieces and he's dead. But he's Superman, so he can't do that. Batman has no rules like that. He knows no matter what he does, he can't kill Superman. So he just goes off and he could do whatever, like in the Hush series where he took the entire power of Gotham and hit him with it and he just stunned Superman. So he knows he could do any of this shit and it's not going to matter. So that there's completely two different fights. And then there's the psychology of, if you're Superman, you wake up one morning, you can't get killed by bullets, you have freeze breath, you can fly, you can go the speed of whatever, you have laser eyes. It would be the easiest thing on earth to become a superhero. Like, I'm just going to be a superhero because what's anybody going to do about it? Whereas Batman is like, I had to go and make myself like this and carry this out as a mortal person every day and do this
Right.
without any superpowers. So if that's the logic, then by far he's a better superhero, because just the whole premise of the hows and whys he's a superhero is better than Superman's.
We can really talk about this for a while.
So yeah.
Well, I think Superman also purposefully empowers Bruce because he knows that, like, in the event that something ever went wrong
Mm-hmm.
and Superman was a legitimate threat,
If he went rogue.
he needs
Batman.
Bruce to be able to stop him.
Where the? Mm-hmm.
Like,
In Doom.
right, like, yeah, like Clark would never hide his secret identity from Bruce. Like, he wants Bruce to know everything.
Right.
He trusts Bruce enough to kill him.
And that was like one of the, like, because my kid used to watch like the offshoot kind of like DC things that would come out like on streaming or whatever. And one of them was, the storyline where Batman has contingency plans for every one of the
Right.
characters if they go rogue.
Yeah, there was a Tower of Babel Justice League comic
Mhm.
that was adapted into, was it Justice League Doom? Was
I
that
think
the
it
movie?
was,
they
yeah.
adapted?
Hold on, this battery just overheated.
They do that?
Yeah.
Really? How come Vinny's camera has a furry thing? I don't have a furry thing. What?
I'm not even using it anyways because there's a mic on the camera. This camera's still going, so they can still hear you.
Oh,
I just have to stop it.
that's awesome. They could just, there's no thing. They
Don't
just
edit
hear,
this out.
they just hear me
Yeah.
yelling
Keep it
at
in.
Vinny's
You
thing.
just
Why
won't
does he have a
see-
furry
yeah.
thing? I don't have a furry thing.
I mean, I can cut it.
Nah, don't edit it out. It's good.
Yeah.
We got to wrap up anyway soon.
Sylvia Perez is calling me. I'm not sure why.
So, Superman and Batman and that friendship and dichotomy is very interesting,
Dude.
because they're so number one, like you were saying about Superman, like his ability to essentially be fearless, right? Like there's nothing really can kill him. He's come back from the dead. He has all the powers you could possibly want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Superman in real life would be like, I love all the film adaptations thus far of Superman for different reasons.
Right.
But I think he would be like actually pretty like chill.
Superman?
Because he really wouldn't be worried. What would he be worried about?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for his own personal safety. Like, clearly he's got concerns, right? Like, he wouldn't want any of his friends or family hurt. He's trying to save lives. But like, for the most part, like Superman would be like almost like surfer energy.
Oh, yeah. He would have that. He'd have like big dick energy. He would have like, yeah, he would have that.
Yeah, he would just be like, how's everybody doing? Like, he'd be very zen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't personally like the whole messianic version of Superman. Like, I get why that's an easy analog, but Superman was never Jesus. Superman was actually more Moses when he was originally created.
True.
If you wanted to compare it to like any type of biblical,
Wow, that would, yes.
you know.
I get that.
So that's how I always kind of envisioned him. I never really envisioned him that way. And then he became more of that type of storyline. Maybe, you know, prior to like Zack Snyder, but like Zack Snyder's Man of Steel definitely makes him like very like messianic. Like there's so much visual, like, and I get it. And I like that movie. I will argue that Man of Steel is a fantastic movie.
Right.
But that wasn't really my take on Superman. Like, Superman definitely would be I would lean into the friendliness aspect, like the James Gunn version of it, which you know, a lot of people have. That's the thing with people, like the Superman Returns movie. Everybody loves. Nobody says anything about the Christopher Reeves movies. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. Like Christopher Reeves, his portrayal of Superman, like those movies were groundbreaking. But if you ever really watch them, they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous, and especially after the first one. Number one, my biggest beef with that movie is, it kind of bothered me that Lois fell in love with Superman, not Clark. And all the other versions of Superman, she loves Clark, and he happens to be Superman.
Right.
In that version, she falls in love with Superman. So that bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
Not my favorite version of it, although they were great. Their chemistry together was great in those films. Like they were just so much fun to watch. But those movies are a mess, right? Especially even the first one, they're a mess.
Right.
Superman Returns was not a great movie. It had some really, it had some really good. Brandon Routh did the best he could with what he had. Like he's just not a wonderful actor, but he looked the part.
Right.
He tried his best. I think he did a good job in that movie. It was good. But people complained that it wasn't action packed enough. Like
Okay.
Superman wasn't like really fighting or doing anything. So then Man of Steel comes out and it's all action and like it's Dragon Ball Z style fights to the city, like
Right.
and then people are like, Superman's not violent. Like, okay. So then they go to like James Gunn's version of it, which is like a kind of a blend, right? Like he definitely can pack a punch and can get down and fight, but also like takes time out in the middle of the fight to like save squirrels and like puppies and like, doesn't want to like, if he can find a way to not damage his foe, he will, which I think Superman would always do. Because he knows that if he really wanted to, he could one punch anybody. Like if he just focused enough, there's not really. So like the fact that he's trading blows with other people
Right.
is almost like him, like almost patronizing them. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like when you ever get, if you're ever like a kid and you got in a fight with somebody that you clearly outmatched and you like knew that you could just like whip their butt really bad. Like even if one of your buddies was like play fighting with you or, or like maybe a younger sibling or like a younger cousin and you just kind of like let them like, and then eventually you like smush them into like the floor. You're like, okay, we're done. That's what like Superman would be with like a majority of the villains and foes.
Right.
Like he always wants to, and he's just trying to always like kind of come to an understanding with them as he's fighting them. Like, do you really want to do this? Like, are we really like, can we stop? And then people were just like, I don't know. He seems like way too friendly and hokey. And like, I like the fact that like Superman's hokey.
Yeah, I mean, well, the whole thing is like he's there for the superhero aspect of it, but there's also that like he's supposed to be there to inspire people that are reading it, but also along the way he's like when you introduce new characters or people like if you're in a new up and coming superhero and you meet Superman, it's like whoa, it's Superman.
Yeah.
Like he's there for inspiration.
Right.
And there was that one point where him and Batman got into it, and Batman's like, if you don't want to do this anymore, like whatever. But they're not looking to you to be like this and this that. They look to you for inspiration.
Right.
And he's like, and the last time you inspired anybody is when you were dead.
Yeah.
And Superman's just like, oh.
When his costume's so goofy and he doesn't wear a mask because he's so powerful.
Right.
If he wore a mask and if he looked like an edgelord, people will be terrified of him. He could do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of has to look like a clown to appeal to kids, and he doesn't hide his face because he's trying not to. He's trying not to be a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at me. I'm showing you my face. You know who I am.
Right.
People can't figure out that he's Clark. He's got his ways, right? But
He has glasses.
well, the glasses actually give off a hypnotic signal. I don't know if you
Right.
knew that. So
But I mean, it's true. What about so there's one part where Batman does say, you shouldn't wear a mask, like to hide your face, like to protect yourself. You're doing that to protect your loved ones, like so they can't get to you. Like, so I mean, technically, Superman doesn't wear a mask, but if he were to marry Lois or whatever, and people found out and knew all that, they could go after Lois. 'Cause
right,
Superman doesn't wear a mask.
right.
So he does leave himself kind of vulnerable there.
Well, the cool thing about that is like with Superman, he's actually different people, right? He's Kal-El. That's who is he Kal-El or is he Clark Kent, right? Like, because Kal-El is his heritage,
Right.
but he comes here as an infant. He grows up as Clark Kent,
Mm-hmm.
but he has different versions of himself, right? So like, there's Superman, which he shows the world, right?
Right.
Then there's Clark Kent, which he shows the world. But then there's this other version of Clark Kent that he shows the people that he really cares for, like Lois and his parents.
Right.
And if you watch the most recent Superman movie, I feel like they did that really well. Like there's a scene there where they go back to Kansas after he's like really really hurt, and like at that point Lois sees who he really is, like not just the Clark that he's playing for the crowd. He sees like who Clark really is.
Right.
And like that's when she falls in love with him. So, which is kind of different than Batman because Bruce is the mask.
True. Oh my God, there was a series where where Bruce Wayne gets locked up, and he's in prison, and while he's in there, like, you know, like he beats the crap out of all these people, and he's like, oh, this isn't gonna be long now, and then he escapes from jail, and you know, Nightwing and everything and Oracle, they come to him, they're like, well, you know, what are we gonna do to get Bruce Wayne back out there? He's like, what do you mean? Bruce Wayne, he escaped from jail. He's in a different country now. There is no Bruce Wayne. And they're like, what are you talking about? You can't do this. He's like, nope, this is what I wanted all along. Like, there's no more Bruce Wayne, just Batman.
Yeah.
So
there's a couple of different things they did in comic books and cartoons to kind of that were funny. Like one is they did this, I can't remember what book it was, but it was like a retelling of like when Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman first met. And they made a pact that they would reveal each other their secret identities. And like that's been told a million different ways, like how all these characters figured out who each other are. And they all hold the lasso of truth, which, as you know, you can't lie when you're holding the lasso of truth.
Right.
So Wonder Woman's like, hi, I'm Diana with that mascara. And Superman's like, I'm Clark Kent. And Batman's like, I'm Batman. And then, and you ever watch Batman Beyond, which is a great animated series?
I watched Batman the animated series. I never watched Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, highly underrated, great cartoon, and Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker is one of the best animated Batman films ever. Watch it, and there's a unedited version that has like there's a really twisted prologue to that story.
Okay.
So because they took it out because it was really dark.
Okay.
Those guys were good, man. Those Bruce Timm and that whole Batman animated series guys. So anyway, I digress. In Batman Beyond, the premise of it is you have an aging 60 to 70-year-old Bruce who can't do this anymore.
Right.
All the Robins
remember
are
that
all the
part.
Robins are gone. Some of them they give you reasons why, some of them they don't, right? And this one character, Terry McGinnis, stumbles upon Batman. He winds up he is a very Peter Parker version of Batman, Terry McGinnis.
Okay.
Right? Like he's like his characterization is like he's a high school kid. He's imperfect. He's always late for class. Like he's very Peter Parker-ish. Like it's like as if they wanted to see like what if like Batman were to mentor Peter Parker into being Batman. At least that's how I receive it. And there's one episode way back when, maybe second or third season, I can't remember, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but Terry and Bruce were both kidnapped, and someone was playing. They were doing like these mental games with them where they were in like this dreamscape or whatever like that. And Bruce figures out they're in a dreamscape, and he saves the day and gets everybody out of it. And at the end, Terry's like, "How did you figure it out? How did you know like how to do that?" And he's like, "Well, I realized the world we were in wasn't real." And he's like, well, how did you do that? Because it was I couldn't figure it out. Like we were in this other universe, like this fake universe, like a Matrix type thing, you know?
Right.
And Bruce was like, well, I kept referring to myself as Bruce. And he's like, well, what do you call yourself? And he was like, looked at him and he's like, oh. It's like in Bruce's mind, he doesn't call himself Bruce, he calls himself Batman.
Right. Wasn't there one like where the Bruce that the kid was seeing, because he usually saw him by TV, right?
No, they had a Batcave.
Okay, and like he would see him, and like they were projecting something different, and like they're like, "Well, how did you know that wasn't Batman?" He's like, "Look at him, he's smiling. Like, look at him, like the stuff he's doing." Like, and it was like Bruce. They're like, "Hey, man, what's going on?"
It was
like,
great.
Whoa,
It was a great story. It was cool to like see him mentoring someone to be Batman, and like also like kind of being. He was, you know who you ever watch Gran Torino?
Mm-hmm.
That version of like Clint Eastwood is what Bruce Wayne is in that show. He's like he's grumpy,
right,
and just callous.
I could kind of
and
see
just
him doing
perfect characterization of like an older Bruce. And right now, if they ever do this, Michael Keaton is at the perfect age for it.
Okay, perfect age for it, perfect look. Michael Keaton, amazing Batman. Do you think people would have a hard time seeing Michael Keaton as a disgruntled old man?
No, he did a great job as it already. Wasn't he disgruntled in like Birdman? He's a great actor. Michael Keaton's great.
He's
And
fantastic.
he was a grumpy Batman in Flash. He came back as Michael Keaton's Batman.
That's true.
And
He was.
also, he was awesome as the Vulture in the Spider-Man movie.
Yes. I never understood the Vulture as a character. They made him old.
That was the best version of Vulture ever.
Well, true.
The comic version of Vulture is stupid.
Right.
But that was cool. That was like an actual like scary scene when they're in the car and like he realizes that he's Spider-Man and Spider-Man realizes he's the Vulture. Like it's awesome. Well, he knew he was a Vulture the moment he like walked in, but like
I have a question for you that I'm going to pose.
all right,
to you.
last thing for the podcast. Go
Oh
for
no,
it.
no, this isn't. This is way too long. But
Oh, okay.
this is like maybe a lead up. So when I used to do group therapy for like people and couples and everything, one of the questions that always came up are, why do you think guys are so? It's more like prevalent that guys are unfaithful compared to girls in relationships. And
Stereotypically,
yeah,
that's what people think. I don't know if that's accurate. Like there's no
Right.
numbers on that.
but okay. So with that, one of my things I always thought is because when guys are growing up, mostly what they see is superheroes. They see like James Bond. They see all these guys that have these characters where I'm the dorky guy, but by night I'm did it.
Yeah.
And does that kind of start something in their head like
Like a
That-
duality of like
that carries over when you're an adult? And I pose that question to you for our next podcast.
are we gonna break into the psychology of like how superheroes inform us? As a therapist?
Maybe.
That would be great. Stay tuned.
Ding, 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 ding,
We need
ding,
outro music.
We do need outro music, like two ferns. Like we need that.